Hello everyone, welcome to my new YouTube channel, Tips and Tricks. My name is Sunny Lensman, and today on Tips and Tricks I'm going to be discussing how to wire up a basic wall outlet. So let's get into it. The first step, let's get familiar with the outlet. How do you know where to put your wires on these screws? Well, there's actually three different ways you can tell. The very simple way is actually on the back. This outlet tells you which wires go where. So on the gold screws, it says here, right at the top here, hot wire. So your hot wire will typically be your black wire. So you'd put your black wire on either one of these gold screws. It doesn't matter which one. Now this one says, down here where the silver screws are, on the plastic here it says white wire. So obviously that would be your white wire. And you can put your white wire on either one of these screws. Another way, let's say there's no writing on the back and it doesn't tell you which screw to put your wires on. Well, your silver screws will always be your white wire. Your gold screw will always be your hot wire. And then your green screw right here, the green always means ground. So that'd be your solid copper wire. Another way you can tell which side the hot wire goes on and which side the white wire goes on, or the neutral, would be according to these slots. So you see how this slot is actually longer than this one. The longer slot is always your white wire, or your neutral, so the silver screws. And then your short slot is always your hot, or your gold screws, the black wire. So now let's begin wiring up this outlet. You want to strip it back, and I use these Harbor Freight strippers, and I gotta say, for the price, you can't beat them. Like, I've talked to professional electricians and they say the Harbor Freight ones are better than their really expensive ones. These are only like $5 at Harbor Freight. Highly recommend getting them. So you'll put it on the proper gauge, you'll strip it back, I would say like a 1/2 inch, like that. You do that for each one, except for your copper wire, obviously. So we'll strip that back. And then I like to take my strippers and put a little, I like to go to the top of it and then put a little bend on it so it can go around the screw. Oh, this is really tough. Just like that. We'll do the same with the black wire. There we go. And then on the outlet, you might have to prep these screws. They have them screwed in pretty far. I like to screw them out really far so you got more room to work. Otherwise it can be really hard to get the wires in there. So I'm gonna loosen up the screws so they're as far out as they can possibly go before they actually come out of the thing. And then on the other one, if I'm not using it, I just screw it back in, because I'd rather not have it stick out. You can see how I got that one as far out as I can go. And now that makes it easy to put your neutral wire on. Actually, I'd like to start with the ground first. The ground wire, I like to start with the ground myself. So I'm gonna bend that one real quick. There's actually a thing in the strippers so you can bend the wire easy. This little top part here. So now let's put the ground wire on. Put it on the green screw, remember? Just like this. And then I like to pinch it down so it's really tight. Maybe. Bear with me. There we go. So it's really tight around there. Just like that. And then we'll tighten that up as tight as you can get it. Voila. And now we can work with our black and our white wire. And like I said, your black wire is typically your hot wire, and if you're not really sure Hopefully you have the power off while you're doing this, but before you turn the power off and you want to test and see which wire's hot, you can use one of these meters and basically you turn it on, it'll make a beep, and then you can place it up against the wires to see it, and if it starts beeping rapidly, that means this wire's hot. Typically, I obviously don't have this hooked up to any actual power, so it's not gonna beep for you, but if this wire's hot, it will beep like a continuous, make a continuous beeping noise. And typically your neutral wire will have no power coming out of it. So you can use that tool to test it, or a multimeter. That's a little harder to do if you're not sure how to use one. So let's put the neutral wire on now. And I'm gonna put that around that silver screw, just like so. And then I'm gonna do the same thing. And actually I should have stripped off more wire, or stripped this wire a little bit more to give me more room to work, but it is what it is. Now it's super hard to do. There we go, got it. And we're gonna tighten that down, just like that. Nice and tight. See how that's on there? And you notice I went and I wrapped it around this way. I looped it around the screw this way. And that's because if you're tightening it, it will actually help to wrap the wire around the screw. Rather, if you went the opposite direction, if you went counterclockwise with how you place the wire on there, it actually loosened the wire up. So it's always good to loop the wire around the way you turn the screw, if that makes sense. And then we're gonna do the hot side. Put that on and clamp her down. Like so. Just get that as tight as you can. And voila, you're done. You've wired up your outlet. Now let's say that you have you have more than one black wire and white wire coming out of your wall. That means it's probably feeding another outlet perhaps. So all you would do is you'd put the other black wire down here on this gold screw. You have two slots obviously. So you can put that other black wire on this side and then your other white wire on the silver side. And then that will also provide power to your other outlets. So yeah, there you have it. All right guys, thank you so much for watching my first episode of Tips and Tricks. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any recommendations of something you'd like me to show you how to do in a simple manner, please put it in the comments below and I'll try to make a video on it. So tune in next time for the next episode of Tips and Tricks.